1-800-632-8006. 1-800-632-8006. Call now.
Under Kamala, there's been a big hike in Medicare premiums. Social Security benefits don't go far with Kamala's inflation slamming seniors. Now Kamala wants struggling seniors to pay more Social Security taxes, while she gives Medicare and Social Security to illegals. That will doom Medicare. President Trump will make sure no one cuts Medicare or Social Security. Trump lowered Medicare premiums, and he'll end the tax on Social Security.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Together, we are Western North Carolina.
Together, WNC, helping after Helene.
You want to cry. It's like, what do you do? You know, where do you go?
This can be replaced, but lives can't.
This is going to be a very, very, very long recovery.
Almost a month after Helene bombarded the mountains, everywhere you look, signs of resiliency.
Rebuild, redo everything. I ain't no quitter, so I'll never give up.
Signs of hope, signs of help still needed.
Every morning you wake up, you think, wow, bad dream, and you look out the window, it's off.
Communities and families torn apart.
I had 3 uncles and 3 aunts that were taken in this awful storm.
Reduced to nothing more than piles of debris. So much damage, overwhelming to see at times.
That's a total loss. We've lost everything. Water was all the way to the ceiling.
But over these last few weeks, victories big and small.
I looked at my wife and I was like, dang, do you realize what we're going through right now with a 6-week-old baby? Like, we're doing it. We're doing okay.
Neighbors helping neighbors, going above and beyond.
It was just something I knew I had to do.
Doing what needs to be done, even when their own homes are in jeopardy.
It's been like the best of humanity.
Western North Carolina, the land of sky. We're moving forward, taking it one step at a time.
I've been taught, put your feet in action, and this is a good way to do it.
News 13 is here for you, and with you through it all.
I'm Holly Hedrick, live in Mills River at Manna Food Bank's new warehouse. Today we are talking about helping after Helene, how you can monetarily help people all across Western North Carolina.
I'm Patrick Hushin. That is right, Holly. So let's dive right into how these donations will be put to work. We've partnered with the Community Foundation of Western North Carolina. Since Helene, the foundation's activated its Emergency and Disaster Response Fund, and that fund provides grants to frontline nonprofits helping with recovery efforts, both immediate and long-term. Now, we have a QR code up right now to donate. This is important during this hour. That QR code will stay up on your screen throughout the afternoon and throughout the evening. Every dollar goes directly to storm assistance in 18 Western North Carolina counties, including the Qualla boundary. And Holly, it's all hands on deck to help out those in need, and you're there with the president of the Community Foundation of Western North Carolina.
I am Patrick. Elizabeth Brazes, thank you so much for being with us. We want to tell folks all across Western North Carolina why we have chosen to partner with you. Tell people what you guys are all about.
Thank you. Thank you for having us here. Thank you to Manna for hosting, and thank you to your viewers. The Community Foundation of Western North Carolina, some people may know we're a permanent regional resource. We serve the 18 counties of Western North Carolina, including the Qualla boundary. We're finishing up our 46th year in service to the region, and we sit at the intersection of needs and resources, and we work with our amazing nonprofit partners to get money to them. And after Helene, they're really focused on doing their mission and get their fundraising, and they're helping the community. And we are raising funds and granting out dollars as quickly as we can.
And your reach is really incredible. We're talking, you work with more than 100 different nonprofits across 18 counties. Talk about how you get that all done.
Well, we have a great staff and a long tenured staff. And so our commitment to the region and being diverse in our geographic reach is long-standing, and so we have long-term partnerships with nonprofits. We have long-tenured staff who have relationships with these nonprofit partners, and our grant program is designed to be efficient and to get funds out to our nonprofit partners with very little burden to them. Since we opened the fund on Sunday after the storm, this is an emergency fund that we've opened twice before, sadly. It is where community foundations shine. We're nimble, we can do the work quickly and get the funds out, process grants. We have processed over $6 million in grants and have raised over, $5 million in grants and have raised over $26 million. And the grant program went up October 7th, so we've made those $5 million grants since then.
So that money has already gone back out
Yes.
into our community. That's how fast you're able to
Yes.
work.
And we're also really cognizant that some of our communities still don't have connectivity. So we're taking applications online. We've taken some over the phone, and our staff is inputting that data for our nonprofit partners. We are expanding the guidelines as of today because some of our nonprofit partners and communities are moving into rebuilding and recovery, and some aren't.
Right.
Some are still in rescue. And so we want to make sure that as we expand the guidelines, we are sensitive that some of our nonprofit partners haven't even gotten to apply yet. And so today, expanded guidelines went up, keeping the original ones and then adding some focus on rebuilding.
And you're able to take some of the burden off of these nonprofits and do this work for them and get these resources to them so that they can get it to their people.
Exactly. And the Community Foundation has a long-standing reputation in North Carolina. We have 2 regional partners that we collaborate with regularly, WNC Bridge Foundation and Dogwood Health Trust. They have the same 18-county footprint. And then we have private foundations and other funders across North Carolina who reached out very early and committed funds, knowing that the Community Foundation was in a place to both receive them and then get them back out.
Because you've had donations from all across the country that
Yes.
you're handling and you're
Yes.
redistributing.
Yes, and what's wonderful about the philanthropic community is wonderful. What's great about community foundations is all of the community foundations are putting up our website and directing their donors. Marin County, Vermont, they're all coming to this fund.
And we want to talk to you about people sometimes have the impression that a lot of this money is going just to Buncombe County.
Oh.
You're talking 18 counties. We've said it a couple times now.
Yes.
But this is also getting out to those rural areas who still don't have connectivity.
Yes.
They are going to get this help too because this is a long road.
It is a long haul. We're in it for the long haul. We feel strongly that we shine at this beginning point where before state and federal dollars have begun to flow. At this point, we had hoped state and federal dollars had begun to flow. The people of Western North Carolina deserve better. They deserve the funding. This is a unprecedented disaster, and we do not want to be a cautionary tale.
Exactly. We want to keep the word out there, keep people understanding that there is still need, there's going to be need down the road. So let's tell people at home how they can help. All you have to do, it's very, very simple today, is use the QR code that you see right on your screen to donate to the Community Foundation of Western North Carolina. You can also just go to our website, WLOS.com. There's a banner. I looked at it just a few minutes ago. Right on top, it's in orange. You can't miss it. Just click on it and you can donate. Patrick, let's send it back to you.
All right, amazing work being done over there. Holly, we'll talk to you again soon. Since the storm, the town of Chimney Rock has been a big focus nationally for the amount of devastation and damage caused by the flood. Now, 15 businesses are gone, nearly 30 more damaged, and 15 homes are no more. Now, we took a walk with Chimney Rock Mayor Peter O'Leary to help answer the question, what now?
And whenever I look up and see the beauty that surrounds us, I realize why we all came here in the first place, is because it is a beautiful and a magical place, and we desperately want to rebuild it and make it even better.
If I could ask you as mayor to speak for the community right now, almost a month after the storm, what are you hearing from the folks that are here? How are they doing emotionally?
Well, everybody was devastated. Everybody was in shock to begin with, and we're still just trying to get out of that mode. But there has been a lot of progress. We're getting a lot of the town cleaned up, and that's I think is lifting people's spirits. It's still very tough though, because these are all very mom and pop operations, very small businesses, and for them to come back, it's going to be a long, hard road. People are positive and people want to come back, but we've got a lot of obstacles to overcome. We feel like we can overcome them, but it will be difficult.
I want to touch more on that progress. We're surrounded. We've been here for just a short amount of time, and we've seen a number of trucks come through. Tell us more about, just since day one after the storm, the progress that's been made up to this point.
Right. Well, the first few days it was all search and recovery, search and rescue. And then they really got into the debris removal and cleanup phase, and that's just been fantastic. To see the difference just a few weeks have made is amazing. We've had a lot of equipment in here initially to get the debris out of the way, and then of course the volunteers, the Army and other volunteers started showing up and doing more handwork, and that was just uplifting to see that happen. And to us, I mean, it's still, there's so much devastation around us, but to us, the people that have been here every day and seen it, it's amazing the transformation that's taken place so far. What we probably need the most, we still do need volunteers, and we have a way to, on our website they can check that, or they can check our Facebook page and see who to contact to volunteer, and they're scheduling people to come in. I mean, the next thing we need is we are going to need a lot of money to rebuild, so any donations, financial donations, and then just support from our local, state, and federal officials. And it's been tremendous, but we just ask people not to forget us and to keep reminding those that that hand out the disaster relief that Chimney Rock's still here, and Chimney Rock is trying to rebuild, and Chimney Rock needs to be rebuilt. And that's the message we're trying to get out there to everybody, is that this is an important part of our state. It's Chimney Rock Park is just an iconic figure for the state of North Carolina, and it's important, we think, that it needs to come back and be rebuilt.
What's the big takeaway here with regards to rebuilding along the beautiful Broad River? What conversations are being had in terms of preparedness for, God forbid, another storm?
Right, and obviously we've got to take into account what happened, and that's a conversation that we're still having. Those are discussions that we're still having, trying to figure out what the smartest way and the best way is to rebuild, because we don't, and that's one of the reasons I say the old Chimney Rock is gone, because a lot of those buildings that were literally right down next to the river are probably not going to be rebuilt. I mean, that's still an open-ended question, but we need to figure out, you know, how do we take the village and make it a little more flood-proof? This event, though, was so far beyond what anybody could imagine. So it's hard to kind of wrap your heads around that and say, how do we avoid this in the future? Because this was truly a catastrophic event. And
Peter, we're here in front of your family store here. Can you just kind of tell us what we're looking at right here? I mean,
yeah, this is our general store that was originally built in 1927 as a movie theater.
Right.
And it became several things through the years. We've had our general store here. We've been in business for 32 years, and I've raised a family here. All my kids worked in it. I've got grandchildren that come to visit. It's bittersweet to look at it, because it's, you know, obviously this building won't be here anymore, but we hope to, with this too, we hope to rebuild something that's even better and can continue to live into the future.
All right, the mayor told me one idea for the future rebuild is to create a new town and an old town, Chimney Rock. That, of course, highlighting the older buildings that survived the storm. And we do want to thank Mayor O'Leary for giving us that access to his village, like so many around Western North Carolina, forever altered by Helene, but determined, as you just heard, to come back from this stronger than before. Life is already fragile enough when you don't have a roof over your head. Helene only compounded those concerns, as you can imagine, for the unhoused population. Holly is live again from Manna Food Bank. And Holly, you're talking with an organization that helps people experiencing homelessness.
That's right, Patrick. Jessie Figueroa is here with us today. She is with Homeward Bound. A lot of people have heard of Homeward Bound. We've been talking about it a lot in the news, what the organization does, but some of you may not be familiar. So Jessie, thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having us.
And tell folks what you do.
Yeah, so our mission is preventing and ending homelessness in our community through permanent housing and support.
And tell us about where funds go. How does this work if people start donating, and how you could use some money today?
Sure. So we have a homeless services side where we assist all of the individuals currently experiencing unsheltered homelessness. So before Helene, we had over 219 individuals experiencing homelessness. We're caring for them through our A Hope Day Center and our outreach team, really connecting to services. But the real critical piece is that permanent housing, that rapid rehousing support. So we have over 250 individuals that we're supporting We place them in housing, we give them intensive case management so they can really be stable members of our community.
And again, Helene, now compounding this
Yes.
issue for you. What have you seen in the past couple weeks? What are you hearing, and how has the need grown?
Yeah, I mean, I think for our entire community, it's been devastating. Thus far, we do have 11 families that are in our permanent supportive housing and rapid rehousing programs that have been displaced. So they are now either camping or staying in these emergency shelters. We are so dedicated to finding solutions for them, rehousing them as quickly as we can, and we do that through community support and donation support and organizations like Community Foundation of Western North Carolina.
How does it feel when you help one of those families?
I mean, the feeling, honestly, is less about how we feel and more about the family that's impacted. The change from living unsheltered, especially when you're looking at our veterans with families and people that have been displaced, it's a full rebuild. So like so many members of our community now are seeing this process firsthand. This is what Homeward Bound deals with on a daily basis all throughout the year. And so we just hope that this can kind of shed some light and some understanding of what these folks are going through.
All right, thank you so much for being here. Hopefully that was a good explanation for folks too to understand. And so you want to donate. I know everyone at home wants to donate right now. It's very, very easy. There's a QR code right at the bottom of your screen. You can see it. You can just put your phone on it right now. You can also just go to our website, WLOS.com. There's a banner up top. You click on it. It says donate, and you can donate to the Community Foundation of Western North Carolina, which again represents 18 counties and more than 100 nonprofits just like Homeward Bound to get that money to who needs it most. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Patrick, back to you.
Great. Thank you, Holly. Western North Carolina, then and now. We know things are different, but how much different? We'll give you a side-by-side look. But first, we're partnering with the Community Foundation of Western North Carolina today because they facilitate aid to more than 100 organizations. The foundation's already given money to more than 50 agencies for flood relief. To donate, you can use that QR code right there on your screen, or you can go to this website. It's WLOS.com/TogetherWNC. 100% of your donations will benefit the Community Foundation of Western North Carolina. We'll be right back.
When I was 5, I began getting sexually abused by my stepfather, and he got me pregnant when I was 12. "64,000 pregnancies from rape have occurred in states with total abortion bans. And Trump did this. Women and girls need to have choices. With Kamala Harris, we do."
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
Big results are no accident. In fact, Shelly Lee got me more.
How much more?
She got me $800,000.
Wow, that's a lot of money. Call 864-225-5000 or go to callshellynow.com.
Let's say I was the governor and had a willing legislature. We could pass a bill saying you can't have an abortion in North Carolina for any reason.
For me, there is no compromise on abortion. It makes no difference to me why or how that child ended up in that womb.
Abortion in this country is not about protecting the lives of mothers. It's about killing a child because you aren't responsible enough to keep your skirt down. It's not your body anymore.
Dirtworks is here to help Western North Carolina rebuild. With over 30 years of experience, we're your local experts in driveways, retaining walls, culvert replacement, and more. Let's rebuild your future together. Call or visit dirtworkswnc.com today.
Insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
Would you have done something differently than President Biden during the past 4 years?
There is not a thing that comes to mind.
Kamala wouldn't change a thing? Their weakness invited wars, welfare for illegals, while Americans struggle. Now Kamala wants higher taxes on top of higher prices. We can't afford 4 more years of Kamala.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
To get the full scope of the progress in the month since Helene, take a look at these videos here. On the left, you see Biltmore Village during the height of Helene's flooding, water feet deep, submerging everything in the historic spot that was, of course, created by the House employees of Biltmore Estate. Now, on the right-hand side, an army of crews working from dawn until dusk, removing piles of debris and trying to restore waterlogged buildings there. Let's head east to Swannanoa, a Buncombe County community that is still hurting right now. People we've talked with sharing their raw emotions over there after Helene pummeled the region, wiping out homes, making roads impassable, swamping the fields, and knocking down power lines. Just look at the devastation there on the left-hand side. Mud still coating the buildings that are standing. Helene nearly wiped Chimney Rock and Lake Lure off the map. We just got an inside look at that along with the mayor there at Chimney Rock. The Broad River bursting its banks. Chimney Rock's administrator calling it a 1,000-year event, a geological event. Lake Lure just down the way, as you see, once the backdrop for the movie Dirty Dancing, found itself in a similar state. But today, a promise to rebuild. The folks there not trying to think too far into the future, instead helping each other out, knowing the recovery will be measured in years and not days. Now, Helene also ravaged farms across the mountains, and farmers we spoke with just last week described losing dozens of cattle on top of the land that was lost. And Holly, you've got someone there who knows all about some resources to help out.
That's right, Patrick. I'm here with Sarah Hart with ASAP. ASAP's been around in this community for more than 2 decades. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
Yeah, so ASAP stands for Appalachian Sustainable Agriculture Project. And so what we do is we are helping local farms build strong farms, helping local farms thrive. We're connecting farmers to markets and supporters, and we're building healthy communities through those connections to local food.
So we know the farms took a devastating hit from Helene all across Western North Carolina, and you work with them all across the region.
We do, across Western North Carolina, as well as Tennessee, Virginia, South Carolina, and Georgia. So when you look at the region hit by the storm, you're really looking at our service area. And we estimate that every single farm in our network will be impacted by this, and whether that is by direct storm damage, from flooding, from wind, from landslides, or by the economic impact, which is losing markets to sell to, restaurants that have been closed, as well as losing that high tourist season. Agritourism is such a big element for so many of our farms, particularly in the fall with apple picking, pumpkin patches, hay rides. So we're really seeing both that immediate disaster needs and cleanup on many farms in our area, as well as that just economic uncertainty, sales plummeting, and wondering how they're going to recover this year or next year, or whether they'll be around in the future. And farms, like so many businesses, are small businesses, are operating on such thin margins that there's not a safety net for this.
And are we really in the still cleanup mode at this point? I mean, we are at 1 month tomorrow. Hard to believe. What are they telling you? What are you hearing from the folks that you work with day to day?
It's so much, and it varies. I think, like we've seen across our communities, it varies neighborhood by neighborhood, farm by farm. Many farms are still in their cleanup mode, their like mental health needs mode, as well as farms that, the immediate pivot point was, we just lost 20,000, 100,000 in sales to restaurants that we would have expected to have this season, this month. What else can we do? So a big part of what ASAP has been doing, in addition to talking to farms that are cleaning up and connecting them with resources, is being able to connect farms to pivot. We call it pivot market outlets, other places that they can sell to. Sometimes that is relief organizations that have budget. Sometimes ASAP can work with those relief organizations to figure out how they can have budget to purchase from local farms, as well as just connecting to, okay, this market moved here, and this market is now going, half of their market roster can't come, so can they take other farm vendors or other local food vendors in? So
you take some of the burden off of them. You are the connection.
We're a connection point. That's a huge part of what we do. So we do have disaster relief grants for farms. They're not huge. The idea is that we can get them out immediately, unlike many of the federal programs, which take a long time, or our small farms in this community largely fall through the cracks of a lot of those federal programs.
And so you need money.
Let's
tell people how they can donate to the Community Foundation of Western North Carolina. Again, ASAP is one of the nonprofits that it works with. You can simply just look at that QR code. I know you see it at the bottom of your screen. Just take your phone, your camera, click on that, donate now. You can also go to the website, WLOS.com, and make a donation very simply. We appreciate any dollars that we can put back into these organizations and help people all throughout Western North Carolina. Patrick.
All right, Holly, and as you just heard from Holly there, we did make this process as easy as possible. So if you aren't near your screen, come closer to the screen. You're going to see that QR code. We've got it right there. Pull out your phone, go to your camera, and then just scan that QR code. That will take you directly to the donation site. So that QR code is always on at the corner of your screen there. But I'm going to take you through the other way that you can donate dollars here for this fundraiser. Now, this is the touchscreen monitor. The simple website, of course, is WLOS.com/TogetherWNC. But the website you're more familiar with possibly is our own website, WLOS.com. And we have this large orange banner right at the top here. And when you click on that, it's going to take you to this beautiful donation page by the Community Foundation. When you go to the Community Foundation's donation site, you can choose to do a one-time donation right down here in the bottom right-hand corner, or you can do a recurring amount drawn. You can do that monthly, you can do that quarterly, you can do it every year. And you can also set an end date. You can also add details down here at the very bottom if your donation is in memory of someone or in honor of someone. So once again, that website is WLOS.com/TogetherWNC. Okay, by land, by water, by air, help takes all shapes for a crisis of this magnitude.
Mountain people. They're hardy, tough, tenacious. They're generous, kind, and creative. Generations of families have made these mountains home through good times and bad. We've weathered the storm before. It's gonna take more than this to stop us, because together, we are Western North Carolina.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
Donald Trump makes a lot of promises, but we can be sure of one thing. If he wins, he'll ignore all checks that rein in a president's power. It's all in Trump's Project 2025 agenda. What does that mean for you? Higher cost on groceries, cuts to Social Security and Medicare, more tax breaks for billionaires, and a national abortion ban putting women's health at risk. A second Trump term, more unhinged, unstable, and unchecked.
Title Max got your money, your real money.
Get started at TitleMax.com and turn your title into real money.
I got $2,500 with TitleMax.com.
Most credit types accepted.
I got $8,700 from TitleMax.com.
All makes and models welcome. Visit TitleMax.com today to find out how much you can get and get your title back with TitleMax.
I got my title back with TitleMax.
Get your title back with TitleMax.
In 2016, child molester Chad Turner became one of Charlotte's most notorious sex offenders. A few years later, Jeff Jackson accepted an award from and embraced Chad Turner.
I'm so grateful for what you've done.
This is wrong. It's awful. Everyone knew about this guy. How could a mom of any child trust Jeff Jackson?
When it deals with children, there are no words.
I voted for Democrats before. I can't vote for Jeff Jackson.
Asheville Regional Airport became a hub of sorts right after Helene hit. Cargo planes, small aircraft, helicopters, all descending on Western North Carolina, bringing in critical aid.
Holly, now who can forget the moment we saw something so primitive yet so effective for delivering supplies? Mountain Mule Packer Ranch made a 245-mile trek across the state to Weaverville. Each animal can carry 200 pounds of much-needed gear, and what an incredible sight to see. This one going viral. Just absolutely, it warms your heart to see all of this effort and these animals doing this. We invite you to give this afternoon. As we've been telling you, it's an easy process. Just scan the QR code there at the bottom of your screen. Your donations, of course, go a long way. Every penny counts, helping organizations address critical needs, including shelter, food, and rebuilding efforts. Our fundraising campaign continues at 4:30. We're talking live with the Counseling Center, the mental health support whenever and wherever you need it. Plus, neighbors banding together when cell outages left them on an island.
When I was 5, I began getting sexually abused by my stepfather, and he got me pregnant when I was 12. "64,000 pregnancies from rape have occurred in states with total abortion bans. And Trump did this. Women and girls need to have choices. With Kamala Harris, we do.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
At Dirtworks, we understand the challenges of rebuilding, and we're here to help Western North Carolina recover, stronger than ever. With over 30 years of experience in this community, we live here, we work here, and we're committed to restoring what matters most to you and your family. From driveways, retaining walls, and bridges, to culvert replacements and site development, we bring professional-grade equipment and expertise to every project. Let's rebuild your future together. Call or visit us at dirtworkswnc.com today.
Injured in a car wreck and you don't know what to do? You call Shelly Lee.
Car wreck cases are what I do. I have a team that works non-stop until we get results for our clients.
Shelly works fast to get you the money you deserve. Shelly Lee got me $500,000.
Call me, Shelly Lee. I'll fight to get you the most money you deserve.
When you're injured and you need help, you call Shelly Lee.
Under Kamala, there's been a big hike in Medicare premiums. Social Security benefits don't go far with Kamala's inflation slamming seniors. Now Kamala wants struggling seniors to pay more Social Security taxes, while she gives Medicare and Social Security to illegals. That will doom Medicare. President Trump will make sure no one cuts Medicare or Social Security. Trump lowered Medicare premiums, and he'll end the tax on Social Security.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
You might go 10 feet and cut 3 trees, you might go a mile and cut 10, but everybody just pulled together and tried to get out.
I think the devastation here outweighs anything that I've ever been to in my life.
My friend there, Becky, I work for her. She has been a total angel.
It's the only thing I can do. We're just running around with nothing to do, and you've got to exercise your mind and get out and help other people.
We watched it from the edges happen. Watch the water come push through these walls.
All the buildings up and down this street are just destroyed.
We'll build back and make things better for our town.
Building back and making things better. You just heard it. I'm Holly Hedrick, live in Mills River at Manna Food Bank's new warehouse. Here we are highlighting how your dollars right now, your donations today, can help people all across Western North Carolina.
And I'm Patrick Hushin. We have to say it, by working together, we can provide real and vital support to our neighbors. And Holly, let's remind folks again how your donations will be put to work. Now, we've partnered with the Community Foundation of Western North Carolina. Since Helene, the foundation's activated its Emergency and Disaster Response Fund. And that fund provides grants to frontline nonprofits that are helping with recovery efforts, both immediate and long term. Now, as we've told you, we have that QR code up right now on the bottom right-hand side of your screen to donate, and that'll stay on your screen throughout the afternoon, throughout the evening. Every dollar goes directly to storm assistance in 18 Western North Carolina counties, including the Qualla boundary. And this afternoon, North Carolina House lawmakers are debating a second relief bill. Republicans introduced a bill that would transfer $604 million from the state's reserves, known as the Rainy Day Fund. Now, the largest amounts would go toward education, the Department of Public Safety, and the Department of Environmental Quality. Yesterday, Governor Roy Cooper laid out a $3.9 billion proposal. It would include money for building homes, food banks, business loans, and grants to farmers. And one of those nonprofits receiving aid is the All Souls Counseling Center. The toll from Helene, as we all know, is both physical and mental. And Holly, you're with the Counseling Center's executive director.
I am Patrick. Meredith Schweitzer is nice enough to come here and join us today. And this is a very important topic. We talk a lot about, housing, and we talk a lot about food and supplies and infrastructure. But really, we're in a mental health crisis for many of us. Talk to us a little bit about how you can help.
Absolutely. Well, I agree. We are in a mental health crisis, but the good news is that there is a lot of support available, and that is really the focus of All Souls Counseling Center. We've been around for 25 years providing mental health support to our community in Western North Carolina, but we also have recognized in the wake of the hurricane that we need to be more responsive out in the community. So what we've been doing is providing therapists, clinical licensed counselors out at comfort sites. we're partnering with Buncombe County, with FEMA, with Red Cross, to actually have a presence, a mental health presence for people who are accessing other services. As we all know and can understand, this is a very traumatic time. We've all had a measure of loss depending upon who you are and where you live. But we've recognized that if we can have people out in the field to meet people where they are, whether it just be sitting with them, talking with them about their experience, acknowledging how they're feeling and validating that, that's a really critical thing to do at this point. We're still providing counseling at our center and also in a virtual format, but a lot of it is about going out into community sites and providing that presence.
How hard is it to get that initial, meeting and get it going and get that initial conversation, I should say, going with some of these folks who have been through so much and literally lost everything?
Right. Well, that's a great question because it certainly needs to be incredibly sensitive. And I think that the therapists that are working with us out in the field and engaging with people who've had so much loss are very skilled at doing that. And they're really not trying to get too deep. They're just really trying to meet people where they are emotionally and saying, how can I support you right now? What do you need? Sometimes it's a matter of if someone's waiting and they've got children with them, if they're waiting in line at FEMA to get processed, it can take a couple hours is what I've heard. And so if they've got children with them, it may be that they have coloring books with them, snacks and water, just providing additional support that may even look a little different than mental health, but certainly mental health affects the whole being, right, and all of our wellness. And so just providing that presence.
And monetary donations can get those people out into these communities, whether it's in Buncombe County or rural Western North Carolina.
Absolutely.
So let's tell everybody how they can donate to get some more therapists out there to help our community with their mental health in the wake of this disaster. You can clearly just see the QR code right there on the bottom of your screen, and you can put your camera on that and donate. Also, just go to our website. You know what it is, WLOS.com. There's a banner. It's orange. I looked at it right at the top, and you can just click to donate there. Patrick.
Thank you, Holly. Now, if you are in distress, these are some other hotlines that can help out. For the National Crisis Lifeline, you can call or text 988. North Carolina's Peer Counseling Warm Line is 1-855-PEERS-NC. If you need other recovery resources, check the State Department of Health and Human Services, their website there, and we have all of these numbers and links over on our website at WLOS.com. Now, tomorrow, students in Buncombe County schools, they return to the classrooms. That day, along with all of next week, will operate on 2-hour delays. Asheville City Schools will reopen on Monday on a modified schedule. Elementary schools will start at 9 in the morning and dismiss students at 1 p.m. Secondary schools will run from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. And Haywood and Henderson County schools are already back in session. The students and staff returned to class last Tuesday. Taking you to Yancey County now, and in the days after the storm, the lack of cell phone service made it very easy to feel isolated. But during those times, we saw how neighbors became family, and family means more than anything right now. News 13's Justin Berger reports from Banks Creek, southwest of Burnsville.
It's amazing what's gone. What was there one day and is gone the next. It's amazing. It's devastating. It's overwhelming.
Jeff Hunter knows what's gone.
All of this was one big green field.
Banks Creek, permanently altered.
It's beyond explain. You can't explain the devastation. There's a lot of it probably that will never be restored. Just because it's completely gone.
That grim reality not stopping Hunter and his neighbors.
We tried to put the creek back to the original creek line because it had washed out so bad. The creek was now flowing right there where the well is, and right in front of her house.
They connected their community back to the main road.
Just trying to get up and help everybody, that we can.
It's the county-wide mindset.
I've got deputies that have lost their entire homes, but yet they've not missed a day's work since the storm hit.
Sheriff Shane Hilliard setting a motion to the side.
It's been the worst thing I've ever experienced in my life, and saw the devastation is people just can't imagine how bad it is in some of these places.
The post office and everything right there in Mikeville, all of that's gone. It's just complete devastation all over Yancey County.
This is Mikeville.
It's a war zone.
It's devastating.
We're just devastated.
So many people are missing that. I mean, this can be replaced, but lives can't.
It's hard to believe.
They're across the road over behind the Silver Bullet.
Shuford Automotive's been on US 19 East for decades. They fix cars.
Just shocked. We couldn't believe that our vehicles went so far away. Couldn't find them. And then we was just worried we was going to find bodies and how we were going to help everybody.
14 cars swept away by Little Crabtree Creek.
But it was definitely worth the drive just to make sure that everybody was okay.
Lending a hand, the Shuford Way.
It took her 6 hours to get here from ETSU. Brought us stuff to drink and eat. And I mean, it's just amazing.
Christy's oldest daughter, Chrislyn.
So making that drive over was something that it wasn't really a choice for me. It was just something I knew I had to do.
That's Micahville. That's Banks Creek. That's Yancey County.
The folks here in Yancey County are so resilient.
And everybody comes together like one big family. It's the best way to describe Yancey County.
Justin Berger, News 13.
All right, thank you, Justin. And these past 3 weeks, we've learned to celebrate even the smallest victories. Now, these are new pictures of the progress being made at our sports director, Chris Womack's house. A massive tree cutting right through his bedroom. Now, Chris and his wife had just moments to hear the crack of that tree and get out of the way. His family has not moved back into the house yet, but as you can see, some steps in the right direction here. And Chris spoke to 2 brothers in the days after Helene, young men who took it upon themselves to help their neighbors in need.
They tell you brighter days are ahead. That just around the corner, regrowth is waiting. But the unspoken part is that those days are a steep climb away.
I mean, that one was pretty deep into the house, so it made it even more challenging.
Tucker Marshall has been clearing trees since the storm broke.
My first thought is how in the world am I gonna get this down?
All the while looking for his own silver linings.
So Thursday, we started out, we did emergency services. We were pulling water, getting people prepared for the storm, and then we were about to go out and prepare somebody else for the storm, and then on our way to the truck, my brother and I, we were walking towards the truck, and then we heard this crack. I don't know how I knew, but I knew it was coming towards us. I ripped him back, and then it fell right in front of us and crushed our house. Crushed at least 3/4 of it. I think there was a moment yesterday where we kind of slowed down and we were just sharpening saws, and I looked at my wife and I was like, dang, like, do you realize what we're going through right now with a 6-week-old baby? Like, we're doing okay.
Helping lift him up while cutting down debris is his brother Gunner.
He kind of tells me what has to be done, and then we kind of talk together. I mean, we see how we can do it efficiently, but also safely.
A lot of the time, we bicker, we fight, but there's a lot of danger that we do every single day in our job, so I think it's important that we kind of work as a team, and I think in the moment, we really work as a team really well.
The two don't just share blood, but a passion.
East Henderson wrestling alum Tucker Marshall is starting his head coaching career.
Both are lifelong wrestlers.
Well, wrestling is just a sport at the end of the day, but when we wrestled since the time we was 4 years old, and from there we kept wrestling national competition, and of course we want to be the best. So to be the best, you have to go through all kinds of adversity.
And in the big picture, wrestling, I mean, you have to have the strongest mental state out of, personally, I think, any sport.
Wrestling is often framed as an individual sport, but it prepared the Marshall brothers to be the ultimate team players in the most important game of their lives.
I like to help my community, I really do, and I think I don't mind adversity. We like to find challenges and solve them.
Nobody said there won't be any more dark days.
It makes me happy to be able to get people where they can start the rebuild or start the next step to their process.
But there is light at the end of the tunnel.
I mean, we've seen some massive trees that you wouldn't even think would fall. They're just so big.
All right, Holly, Chris has been through a lot. He put that piece together. He's just been amazing during all of this, and so have those two brothers. It's really just touched about everyone, but that one really hit close to home.
It certainly did, Patrick. Chris, just one of a handful of WLOS employees affected severely by this storm. You know, we are all just so thankful that they are okay.
We sure are. All right, thank you, Holly. And a ladder and a makeshift bridge. It's the only way in and out for families in Bat Cave. Next, a live conversation with the United Way, the critical resources and support that they offer in Henderson County. But first, we're partnering with the Community Foundation of Western North Carolina, who facilitate aid to more than 100 organizations. The foundation's already given money to more than 50 agencies for flood relief. To donate, all you have to do is use that QR code right there on your screen, or you can go to this website. It's WLOS.com/TogetherWNC, or you can go to WLOS.com and look for that orange banner at the top of the page. 100% of your donations will benefit the Community Foundation of Western North Carolina. We'll be right back.
You're watching News 13 at 5.
Time and temperature brought to you by Honda dealers of the Carolinas.
Prestige Subaru is here to help our community on the road to recovery. We're offering complimentary towing, honoring all pre-storm pricing with deferred payments now available. Prestige Subaru, here to help on the road to recovery.
In the North Carolina mountains, we've faced many challenges. Maybe none as great as the one we face now. But in our darkest moment, hope remains. Hope to rescue the lost. Hope to lift each other up. Hope to do whatever it takes. Now is not the time for politics. It's time to pull together. What matters most is helping you rebuild your homes and your businesses. I'm Chuck Edwards. That's why I approve this message.
Judge Jefferson Griffin is a threat to our rights and freedoms. Griffin signed a withdrawn opinion that said life begins at conception, a legal position so extreme it has closed IVF centers and threatened access to birth control and could ban abortion without exceptions. As the last line of defense on the Supreme Court, Justice Allison Riggs is upholding our Constitution and protecting our rights. She believes in a woman's right to choose and works hard to defend our freedoms.
My mother raised us to believe in the possibility of America and the power of hard work. And if she ever heard us complain, she'd ask us, well, what are you going to do about it? And when it comes to politics, some would prefer to run on a problem rather than solve a problem. Well, I believe in solving problems. My plan cuts taxes for 100 million Americans and lowers costs for groceries, medicine, and housing. Let's turn the page on the politics of pettiness and chart a new way forward. I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
Prestige Subaru is here to help our community on the road to recovery. We're offering complimentary towing, honoring all pre-storm pricing with deferred payments now available. Prestige Subaru, here to help on the road to recovery.
Mountain people. They're hardy, tough, tenacious. They're generous, kind, and creative. Generations of families have made these mountains home through good times and bad. We've weathered the storm before. It's gonna take more than this to stop us, because together, we are Western North Carolina.
Welcome back. I'm Holly Hedrick, live in Mills River at Manna Food Bank's new warehouse. Today we are teaming up with the Community Foundation of Western North Carolina. We are helping after Helene. We are raising funds to help more than 100 different nonprofits the Community Foundation serves. One of those is the United Way of Henderson County. And with me is Kat Carlton. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Holly. Appreciate it.
Tell everybody what you guys do.
Yeah. United Way of Henderson County. We've been serving Henderson County for 70 years, since 1953. And so we've been organizing and mobilizing resources to improve lives of Henderson County residents, and there's never been a more important time than there is right now.
Tell us what people need. What are you hearing from your community?
Absolutely. Well, you know, we're so grateful for the outpouring support and supplies, and as you see at Manna and the incredible pivot that they've done and the supplies coming in here, we're having supplies come in on all different levels through our county distribution site, through our nonprofits, and we're so grateful for those supplies. Really what we need is volunteers to help sort and get those supplies out, and funds to help support the agencies on the ground that have been doing this work and will continue to do this work for the long haul.
So there are really two different ways that you can help the United Way of Henderson County by getting on the ground, boots on the ground, and then also, of course, the monetary donations that we're taking today. Tell us about kind of some of the resources that you put out there.
Absolutely. Well, in terms of supplies, we're so grateful for all the supplies, but it's the food, the water, and then it's the hygiene kits, the diapers, it's the heaters, it's all the things for people. There's so many people that have they can't even take the supplies because they have nowhere to put it. They're staying in their cars, they're staying in hotels, they're trying to get back to normal and go to work and have their kids go to school, which fortunately we can right now in Henderson County, but it's a whole new level of normal. So I'll tell you, Holly, that need for supplies is here for the long haul as people can get settled and back on their feet and are in a position where they can receive them besides day to day. For funds, we support 26 local organizations every day in Henderson County. We support health, education, financial stability, basic needs. We're the backbone of funding with nonprofits for our community, but we have a Hurricane Helene emergency response funds, and those agencies are on the ground doing the work every day and really pivoting to respond to Helene. And as you guys know, every week is a new need, right? It's getting the supplies in, and then now for volunteers, it's getting through the supplies and getting them out to people in need.
And you can do this quickly.
You can do this quickly.
You can get the money out there also, maybe more quickly than the government.
Absolutely. We there's all sorts of ways, and I appreciate what everyone is doing in all the different ways. I promise you it's going to take all of us working together, folks that have insurance, folks that can apply for FEMA, and then folks that aren't eligible for that and didn't have flood insurance and it's not enough to cover what they need. And so the nonprofits are here to support. If you need hygiene products, food, the mental health support, all the things that you're highlighting today, nonprofits are the backbone of that for our community, and through United Way of Henderson County, you're supporting this work.
All right, here's how you can support it monetarily. That's really what we're asking for, is monetary donations that can be dispersed throughout all of these nonprofits to cover 18 counties in Western North Carolina. Again, this is not staying in 1 or 2 counties. This is the entire region. Just look at that QR code on the bottom of your screen. It's been there for the last 45 minutes. It's easy to find during the special, and you can also just go to our website, WLOS.com. Super simple. Click on the banner up top and make a donation. Patrick.
Holly, thank you. Here you see it, an inspiring image burned into our minds. Chimney Rock State Park posted this on Facebook. The team at the park raising the flag the Monday after Helene. That flag, of course, a waving beacon of hope for all of Western North Carolina. We'll be right back.
Cancer may be tough, but we are tougher. We are the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. Our game-changing research has led to the belief that the cures for cancer are in our blood. We are the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. Beating cancer is in our blood.
Covering Helene, a 24/7 commitment by us here at News 13 to Western North Carolina. And at times, of course, it was not easy. Many of the challenges that you endured, we did too. Rising water, impassable roads, lack of cell service as well. Here's Helene through our lens.
I thought it would be best to do a video to stress how significant the impacts are going to be from Helene. We haven't seen this kind of rain in this short amount of time.
Yeah, well, I can tell you that flash flood emergency.
5 a.m., crack of dawn in Biltmore Village. And when the water started rising and we had to leave our first spot, I think that's when it really started to sink in. Like, this is going to be bad.
It was going to be devastating, and not just for a few, but for many. There was a lot of disbelief and also uncertainty and anxiety, really.
Friday morning, half asleep, I heard a crack in the backyard, and something just sounded different about that one as this tree just plummeted down on top of me and the ceiling started coming down. I was covered in insulation just as the entire house shook.
Yeah, and the whole back side of our house is completely destroyed. Our daughter's playset is completely destroyed.
When I got down to the end of my driveway, there were trees blocking my driveway at the road, and then the further you go up the road, there was more trees, and it just felt like it was hopeless. Like, it felt like we were never going to get out.
And it kind of hit me at that point just how bad this storm was going to be.
We were told it was going to be bad, and then it was this bad.
And that was just an hour.
So all the emergency management folks are
Day one, we honestly, the reality is, didn't know the gravity of the situation at all.
Day one, I was able to watch the news at 6 a.m. and like a lot of people, lost power before the end of the 6 o'clock news. So I had an idea of what was happening, but I couldn't get to the station because we were trapped by water.
My husband and I were on vacation for our 10-year wedding anniversary. We had to borrow a car, we had to drive in. It was like apocalyptic.
We had no communication, we had no power. We had crews that couldn't get into work. We had flooded roads, we had rushing water, we had trees down.
Those U-Hauls floating down the river at that point. And then the power lines started to go.
It's not just that the water was rising, but just how fast it was taking out people's livelihoods.
Yeah, I mean, there are moments. There are moments that your heart breaks for these families, for people who have lost loved ones through no fault of their own. You know, when you're out in those communities and you hear those stories, it's tough sometimes.
Within 2 hours, I was on the road to Madison County to Marshall and Hot Springs, and that was really the first chance I had to understand that it wasn't just South Asheville, it wasn't just Biltmore Village, it wasn't the River Arch, it was like all of Western North Carolina.
You know, your heart breaks for them. I mean, you know, you consider yourself lucky that I didn't have the damage that some other people had.
And I just cried. I cried throughout all of it. When this all started, I cried for days, and I think so many people have, and it's okay to be emotional.
Some of it was transparent on the air, but there were a lot of tears and a lot of heartache. You know, they're professionals and they try to keep, you know, that face on, but they're real people dealing with real problems of their own. But they're committed. They're committed to their teammates and to this community, and I'm just so proud of them.
When you look at what everyone else has gone through, I mean, it's a tree, you know? I mean, I'm alive, my wife's alive, my dog's alive. What do I have to complain about?
So I think there was that initial shock, but I think it was that immediate, we're going to get through this shock and we're going to come together as a team and we're going to make it through.
Like, if you can take some sort of a silver lining from it, it's been incredible to see just the way people are helping people they don't even know. Neighbors are meeting their neighbors for the first time.
Some of the things that we love best about the mountains will never be the same, but the people stepping up and helping other people to get back to that's going to be something special to report on.
You know, I always knew Western North Carolina and the mountains were resilient, but just seeing the work in action, honestly, it brings me to tears every single day.
I mean, just the sheer amount of people from everywhere that showed up to help has really been, it's been like an awesome thing to see.
It's just crazy to me when you see a 6-month-old baby and a mom having to go down a ladder to just leave her home to get into town and get supplies. And she's like, you know, you can dwell on things, or you can pick yourself up and make the best of the situation you have at hand.
Mitchell County manager told us it's the mountaineer spirit, and I think that's true for all of the counties in our area. I've just been so impressed.
I'm probably doing like everybody else is doing. I feel less fragile than I felt last week, and I am overwhelmed with the support that our community has received. Seeing what we have seen here on the ground it gives you faith in humanity.
It's a lot, right? It's been a lot for us. It's been a lot for you at home, and we just really want everyone to know that's why we are here today doing this, that we are here and we are in this together. Patrick and Tammy.
I think that's a key word, together.
Together, that's right.
And I think we can all agree the road to recovery